Hi class, so as a reminder, today we went over Martin Luther King's speech, I Have a Dream. And what we're ultimately going to do is we're going to look at two other pieces from the Harlem Renaissance, which happened several years before Martin Luther King Jr.'s speech. And we're going to try and create linking themes between those pieces. And what actually we're doing is we're taking specific elements from each thing. We're supporting that, and then we're synthesizing that information to create a common theme and connect the pieces. So, as a reminder, today in class we drew out details from Martin Luther King's speech. And remember how we talked about language today too, that there are certain words that they used back then that is no longer socially acceptable. And when we look at those words as a class, we're going to be mature about them, we're going to discuss them, we're not going to snicker and we're not going to laugh about it. Okay, so I wanted to remind you guys that today in our notebooks, we wrote down the subject, and we came up with that after reading I Have a Dream from Martin Luther King. And then we're ultimately going to write a thesis, and you have two other columns for two more pieces. And you're going to have several poems to choose from, as well as a couple of jazz songs that you're going to work with a partner to draw out details and draw out themes from. So, the subject that we came up with was the need for justice and unity for all people. Then, we talked about the need for justice right here. And we said that specifically when Martin Luther talked about the whirlwinds of revolt and people uniting up and fighting the powers. So we have a specific textual evidence. Then we also talked about everyone being united. And we wrote down about when Martin Luther King talks about young children joining hands with all races and how that reflects all people. Okay, so that's what we did today. So tomorrow, you're going to look at a poem and you're going to go over that. So I wanted to read to you guys a short poem called I Too and show how I would draw out information from that. And it's by Langston Hughes. I too sing America. I am the darker brother they send to eat in the kitchen when company comes. But I laugh, and I eat well and grow strong. Tomorrow I'll be at the table when company comes. Nobody'll dare say to me, eat in the kitchen then. Besides, they'll see how beautiful I am and be ashamed. I too am America. So, first of all, I'm going to look back at this. I'm going to say, oh, he talks about how tomorrow he's going to be at the table with them. Okay, so that's everyone being at the table. That's unity, right? So I'll write down that. And then I'll see what lines that's on so I can go back and specifically write from those. So I'll count the lines. Okay, that's 12 and 13. And then I'm going to look too, and then people are going to be ashamed of what they've done to him. That's interesting. So I don't know that directly relates to the I Have a Dream speech, but I'm going to go ahead and write down that it will be a shame that they hit him, ever. And that's lines 14 and 15. So then, with a partner, you're going to look at two more. You're going to look at another poem. And I'll be walking around to make sure that you guys are doing okay and gathering evidence, because looking at poems is kind of hard, and it can be hard to draw out the imagery from them. But I know you guys can do it. You're doing great so far. So tomorrow we'll walk around. You guys will draw out information. And then ultimately what we'll do with that is we'll write a paragraph connecting the three pieces. But we'll work together to create theses, and then we'll work together to do those paragraphs, because it's hard to combine informations from three different texts. But you guys can do it. Keep up the hard work.